Hi everyone! I'm so excited to be here with you. I'm so thankful for this opportunity and the fact that I get to share with all of you amazing women. My name is Andrea Stone, and I am an independent sales director with Mary Kay, and I just was really excited to be VIP Queen of the Week so that I could share with you my story, my journey, and just how I have stepped out into faith and how my mindset has shifted. So if you are hopping on live with me, I would love for you to comment so I know. If you're catching the replay, let me know that too. And I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So I was actually a teacher. I taught preschool at a Head Start program, and I had been doing that for 6 years, and I loved my job. I mean, I went to school to be a preschool teacher. I have an associate's degree in preschool education. It was my dream. I mean, ever since I was a little girl, I wanted to be a teacher. That was what I always said. We used to play school, all the things. So I worked my way up to last year. I had finally got the position that I had been working for, which was a lead teacher. So I started out at the daycare center that we partnered with, and then I worked my way up to an assistant teacher. I did that for 5 years, and then last year I promoted to lead teacher, and I was like so excited because it was the position that I wanted. I interviewed for the job, wasn't worried about it, was really confident I'd get it, and I did, and I got in there, and it was great. It was great at first, and I finished up my degree. And hey, Christina, I finished up my degree, my associate's degree, and I was still going to school for my bachelor's, and then COVID happened, and thank you. I'm excited to be here. But so then COVID happened, and teaching preschool virtually is like impossible because preschool age kids, young children, they learn really well through play. So teaching virtually was just really rough. And then we went back into like in person, and where they had been virtual for so long, like I know that took a toll on everyone's mental health, like grown-ups, kids. It didn't discriminate. It really, I feel like it took a toll on everyone. So when we came back in person, I feel like the children were craving a lot. I had not been around people a lot. My coworkers, it was just like you could feel the heaviness in the atmosphere. And so that made for like a really rough time, a really rough start. Oh yeah, so rough, especially for those kiddos. So we came back and we were all wearing masks, and we were all working to be as safe as we possibly could. We were getting like very little learning done. As the lead teacher, I felt a lot of pressure to like do as much as I could for those kids, to teach them as much as I could, but really like I felt like I couldn't give them what they needed. One, because my mind wasn't right. And I feel like whenever you are taking care of other people's children, you really have to be in a really good place mentally, because especially when you work with the demographics that I did. So a Head Start program, if you're not familiar with that, you work with low-income families. And with that, oftentimes comes a lot of trauma, comes a lot of needs that need to be met, and you are the person that they go to most of the time, the family and the children. So you have to really be in a good place mentally. So I was not in a good place mentally. And then just, it was impossible with all the barriers that we were facing to just get everything done. I felt like our leadership there was just like wanting a lot from us. And you just, when you're not in a good place mentally and you have a lot of people depending on you, I feel like that really just kind of wears on you, and I was taking it home to my family. I was arguing with my husband a lot. I wasn't the best mom I could be for my son because I was, taking care of everyone's problems all day long, that when I got home, I didn't want to be touched. I didn't want to be bothered. I didn't want much of anything. And that was really hard. And I didn't want to, keep bringing that home to my family. And I wasn't servicing those kids at work how I felt they needed to be serviced. And then I wasn't, helping my family the way that I should have been for my family too. So I just was in a lot of prayer. And at that time, I was just getting to a different place in my faith and just, really growing my faith. I was still, I've been in church my whole life. My grandpa was a pastor. We had church in our house. I've been around it a lot, but I was getting back into it. And so I just was really leaning into God and prayer, and it was just crazy. There was just like a ball of events that happened that just spiraled in, and just some doors were opened up and some things happened there that was closing that chapter of my life. And I'll be honest, I kind of resisted that at first. When you're really comfortable, I had been there for 6 years, I had time in, I had insurance, I had friends, I went to school, so I'm in still thousands of dollars of debt because I thought that's what I wanted to do. And I was when these doors started closing, I was resisting that because I was I've worked so hard for this. I've put in lots of time for this. I paid for college myself. There were times where you just, you're I've poured everything that I have into this. What the heck is happening? And so I of course resisted that at first, and then just more things kept happening. It's God makes you really uncomfortable when you need a move, when you need a transition. He makes you so uncomfortable until you're okay, I hear you, God. So I listened, and I decided that by January of last year that I was going to become a director with Mary Kay, because there was a leadership event coming up. I had gotten really close with a lot of the directors that I was around and things like that. There was a leadership coming up, and they were all women of faith, and it was just put on my heart that that's where I needed to go. So I put it in my calendar. I asked for work off for this event that was going to happen. And in order for me to go to that, I had to be a director. So I just prayed on it, and it was God just opened the gates for everything to just fall into place how it needed to. And then what's so crazy is that I got that promotion, and then in March, my mental health was just really bad. I decided, but so I made that decision, and then I went into DIQ, which is the first step of becoming a directorship. So I got that promotion, and I was working on that. And then in March, after I went to that leadership conference, I went back to work, and my mental health just really depleted. I mean, things just, I was exhausted mentally. I felt like I wasn't meeting the needs of my family. I felt like I wasn't meeting the needs at work. I felt like the weight of the world was just on my shoulders. And so I actually had to take a leave of absence from work for mental health. And that was really hard because I felt like I was a failure because I was letting my mental health get the best of me. I feel like a lot of times we hear people say oh, you have anxiety, just breathe or do yoga, but really anxiety can be so crippling. And that's what was happening. I was having panic attacks on the way to work, on the way home from work. I was having panic attacks at work. And so I had to take a leave of absence from my job in March. And during that leave of absence, I sought help. I started seeing a doctor. I went to therapy. I started taking steps to get control back of my life. And during that time that I was home, yes, Christina, isn't it just, it's just crazy the stigma around anxiety, I feel like, and how sometimes people don't quite understand, and it's hard to just learn that your mental health is important and just let that go and get help. So finally I did, and while I was at home, I was able to really plug into the things that I needed to. I was really able to surround myself with more positive people, because I was around people who were not so positive, who didn't understand what I was going through, but didn't care to either. And so I think it's really important that when you are going through things, that you find people to support you, and people who really just kind of care about you and want to support you and be there for you. So I found those people, and they were, my Mary Kay people. And I know I keep saying that, but it's so true. Like, the sisterhood that I've gotten from this, I've made some serious lifelong friends, and I just leaned into, she's probably one of my best friends, my director, and I just leaned into her, and she just poured so much love into me. And she just told me, she's like, Andrea, like, maybe this is God telling you that you need to take a rest, and that you need to focus on what really matters, and that is your family. And another one of my best friends said the same thing. They said, what is this costing you? My best friend since high school, she was like, Andrea, what is this costing you to stay at that job where you're comfortable, where you have insurance, where you have all of these things? She was like, what is it costing you? She said, it's costing you your mind. It's costing you your family. She was like, just take a step back for a second and just realize what this is costing you. And I did that, and I realized that being comfortable is not worth, losing my mental health, is not worth losing my husband, is not worth my relationship with my son, who is little and he needs me. And so I decided that I wasn't going to go back to my teaching job. I decided that something needed to change, that I needed a different source of income to where I can take care of myself and I can take care of my family first and foremost before I, lose it. Because that's what it was coming to, honestly, is that it was coming to the point where I would just lose everything, and I would lose myself, and I would lose my family, and I wasn't willing to do that. So that promotion of DIQ led me into being able to become a director. And I actually became a director at the most perfect time, where I was able to quit my job before the start of this school year. And I was able to give plenty of notice to them, and so that it was like a nice, easy transition. No one was hurt along the way. No one, I mean, I know that there was some animosity there because of me leaving, but at the same time, I didn't really, I didn't hurt anyone. You know what I mean? So as long as when you are moving out of a season in your life and you are I don't know how to say this. Trying to find the words. I feel like it's okay to let people go. And I think that is what was holding me back, is that I didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings, or I didn't want to leave anyone hanging. So, because I had been there before and I knew what that felt like, to be left hanging, So I wanted to make sure that when I was leaving that stage, that I wasn't hurting anyone. And I feel like no matter what you're doing when you're growing and you're transitioning, you're going to lose people. You know what I mean? And that's okay, because those people weren't meant to be in your life. So just letting go of that and realizing that it's okay that they're not going to be in my life anymore. They were in my life for the season that they were meant to. And now I get to move on, and I get to meet new people, and they get to pour into my life, and I get to pour into their life. And I think that that is what is so amazing about an opportunity like what I am doing now, because I get to meet some incredible people. I get to meet all of you guys. I got to meet Christina. And it's just like the things that are happening for my family now are crazy. And it's all because, thanks, Christina. I think that's my job, right? But it's crazy the things that are happening because I decided to just step out in faith and leave being comfortable. Like I talked to my husband a lot about this. I was like, man, if I leave my job, what about our insurance? Because my son had broken his leg, he's all boy, he's just full of it. And then there's me who has, therapy and anxiety and my health and stuff like that. So insurance was like a really big factor for me, and we just prayed on it and everything. And then I earned another promotion that's going to provide payment for our insurance. So, and that's what I'm saying. It's like you just step out in faith. And it's so funny that I was listening to another woman speak this morning, Melina, and she was talking about this, and I was like, that's so crazy that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about today too. So it just like solidified in me, like stepping out in faith and stepping out into what God wants you to do, and just, believing and trusting that he is going to let it all work out, because God has a plan for you. God already knows the things that you are going to do, okay? He already has it all planned out for you, all mapped out for you. He has already won over every single battle that you're going to face along the way. So just taking that faith and stepping into it and just trusting that even though you're going to face battles along the way, that God has already won them. So you're going to get to that point, and it may not be tomorrow, it may not be next week, but along that journey, you're going to learn so many things, and you're going to just become who God has really made you to be. And I just think that that is so incredible, that just having that little bit of faith to just take that step, that God is going to bless you abundantly, like abundantly. And when we're women of God, when you're a follower of God, when you're a believer, the enemy, wants to attack you, wants to keep you from those blessings that God has for you. So you're going to face trials. You are going to face people who don't believe in you. You are going to be discouraged sometimes, but the point is that you don't stay there. You don't let that get you down and keep you from your blessings, that you just say, okay, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna move on, and I'm gonna learn from this, and I'm gonna grow even bigger. So, from that little bit of faith, now my husband and I have bought a house, which is a total fixer-upper. We're living with my in-laws right now. So that has been interesting. And there's trials along the way. We got denied the loan for our house to remodel it. So it's all gutted, and we got denied a loan. And so like I'm facing those trials myself right now in this journey. And as I go through it, just, having faith and trusting that it's all going to work out. And I've been spending a lot of time in his word. I have been journaling. I found this journal, and it's called 100 Days of Believing Bigger. And I want to show it to you guys. This is not mine. This is through Marshawn Evans Daniels, 100 Days of Believing Bigger. But this has really helped me to really stay grounded in my faith and things like that. And just, yes, faithfully showing up. I'm trying to be more consistent in things. I'm believing, I'm doing the work, because like Melina said this morning, faith without works is nothing. So, I wanted to share that with you guys. I wanted to share my journey and tell you that it's okay to step out in faith. and trust that God is going to work all things out for your good, because that is who He is for us. And just kind of share who I am, share my journey. I am so honored to be in this group with you guys. I'm so honored to have been able to talk to you guys today. I hope that this has blessed you, and just know that God is moving for you too, and God has big plans for you, for everyone here. And I hope that everyone sees that. That's my goal. Christina shared my little snippet, and that's my goal, is just helping women find their purpose that God has designed specifically for you. And I get to do that through Him opening the door of Mary Kay and letting me step into this company who lets you put God first, your family second, and your career third, so that everything is in order and in line with what it's supposed to be. So I hope that this blessed you. I hope that God blesses you. I'm going to be doing my very first challenge ever, and it's called Love the Skin You're In, and it's a 5-day Love the Skin You're In challenge, and we're going to talk about like taking care of your skin, and I feel like I had this all set up, okay? I had this whole thing planned out with this 5-day challenge, and then yesterday and the last couple days, I feel like God has been like sending it a different way, where we're going to talk about loving the skin you're in, and it being more than just about skincare, like loving the skin you're in and being a confident woman and loving who you are and the gifts that God has given you. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's going to be happening next week. So if you're interested in that, I would love for you guys to join. And I just hope that you have a wonderful day. And I thank you so much for letting me share. Thank you, Christina, for this opportunity. I appreciate you all so much. And I can't wait to just see all the blessings that God pours into you amazing women. I hope you have an amazing day.